What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and the hit group. I'm just playing Box Office Banner Movies, but we are growing like a motherfucker, though. So if you have not joined it yet, what are you doing? And something we do in there every Monday, I post a new thread for you guys to pick out the top 5 that you want me to do. And my good friend Blake Clark happened to choose one I'm quite fond of. He told me that he would like me to do the top 5 best fight scenes. I got my nunchucks on deck, and I'm going to give like a little criteria for how I did this. Now, there was a few I really wanted to put in here, even one he had brought up, but I kind of, it's so close with so many of them. It was so hard to break down. And what I ended up kind of leaning on was I'll stick to one fight scene per fighter, essentially. So this is what I came up with. I hope it's good enough for you, Blake. I know I didn't get that one fight scene in there from the Raid 1 with Mad Dog. That was tough to leave out. Trust me, man, I'm pretty mad, dog. Yeah, that's the worst joke ever, but we'll leave it in there because that's what we do here. Authenticity. I got my nunchucks ready to go, and we going to break this shit down. All right, number 5, we have Jackie Chan in the toughest choice on this fucking list, man. I could not choose what I wanted for Jackie Chan to save my life because there's a lot of fisticuff stuff where he's just fighting without the elements and he's so good. But on top of that, you got to combine all the movies and then the other thing he does so well where he uses his environment. So it was so tough to break it down. But in the end, what I'm feeling, at least as of right now, is Police Story. I think it's got the best combination of everything. The stunts, of course, you got himself electrocuted going all the way down that pole with all them lights. But beyond that, though, we're here to talk about the fighting. So the fighting at the end of this movie in the mall is just grade A, man. You got all the classic stunt work within the fighting, like I was just kind of alluding to. You got just breakneck type of fighting. You kind of get that in times in Jackie Chan movies. He's a little bit more PG at times, but when he's got all the elements working and people are breaking glass, like in this movie with heads and everything else, I think there's more glass broken in this scene than any movie I've ever seen, man. He's just throwing people through glass left and right. He's getting thrown through glass left and right. Other people, like it could have been a random grandma on a motor scooter. She would have got thrown through some glass. Everybody was going through some glass on this damn scene, man. And Jackie Chan's fighting, of course, was off the charts. This is back in the 80s where he was really making it come up, and it's before he broke like every bone in his body, and you can really tell, man. I always encourage people that just know his later roles, once he broke in with Rush Hour and stuff like that in Hollywood, go check out his other work, man. Even if you're not big on the dubbing or reading subtitles, man, you're gonna have to get over that shit because there's a reason why Jackie Chan is as big as he is, and movies like Police Story are a big reason for that. That mall fight scene is one for the record books, man. And I'll go ahead and say it. Drunken Master, man, that was the one I was almost leaning towards. It was between them two, but then again, as I'm saying that, there's so many that are close. But in the end, right now, I'm feeling Police Story a little more, and I think it's because of that glass breaking, man. Maybe that's why I'm a stone cold guy, because dude, I'm into that shit. When he is smashing through everything, I am into that times 10. Number 4, I got to go Ong Bak 2. We got a Tony Jaa entry here. And just watching this man go through this village with reckless abandon. I couldn't even tell you how many opponents he fought. He used a lot of different, forms of weaponry, dude. Non-stop action left and right in that scene. Different fighting styles. I think he especially shines in the scene where he's got those two dudes on either end of him, and he's kind of taking them on, like going at this guy this way, going at this guy this way, punching and kicking this way at the same time. There's just so much to that, and Tony Jaa's athletic ability, and probably being the next best thing to Chan, not quite on that level, but stunt and high flying type moves. He really showcases that, especially in that particular scene that's within this whole ending scene. And then, of course, after all the wreckage clears and he's kind of held up and even he can't take on anybody else, he gets cornered and he realizes that the guy that had been taking care of him because his dad was murdered was actually the person that murdered his dad. So you got that twist at the end of it that's like, holy shit. And they kind of have it out for a second. And at first you're like, oh my God, this whole time, this dude you already think he's a dick because now you found out he murdered his dad, but he seems not even care about what he did. it. But that moment they're crashing swords and they fall to the ground and they can get kind of face to face where they can't be seen, you know, what's been being said. He kind of accepts him as his adopted son and basically tells him, you're going to have to kill me right here. I deserve it. Avenge your father through me, my son. And then he kills him. He yells out his name. Dude, it's fucking epic. That whole fucking scene, so well done. You gotta love Ong Bak too. And I hope if y'all aren't into martial arts movies, y'all gonna give him a chance after this if you're paying attention. And for the ones that do, I hope I'm not doing y'all wrong. Okay, and at number 3, I'm going to have to go with The Raid. And no, not the Mad Dog scene, although that would probably be my second. But my first is from The Raid 2. That whole ending sequence where Iko has just had enough. They just got through with the freeway shootout with all the gunplay, because that's so good in these movies too, beyond the martial arts. But Iko breaks into that warehouse, starts fucking people up left and right. He seems unstoppable, much like, you know, Tony Jaa in the last movie I was talking about. You got to have these kind of fights where your fighter has just had enough and seems unstoppable. It always makes for some of the best fights in movies, and that's why they're here right now. And, dude, Iko's just ruining people. You get the unique brother-sister combo he gets to go up against with the guy, the baseball bat guy that's hitting baseballs at people. Iko's barely moving out of the way, and he's over there like, give me the ball. But guess what? Iko ain't playing that shit. He's going to fuck him up, and he's going to fuck up his sister, Hammer Girl. That whole Duke 'em out scene right there. And then, of course, the final scene in the kitchen with the weapons. The choreography is so second to none. Are you kidding me right now? If you haven't seen the Raid movies, you need to see them. Because I think there's one quote. You know, a lot of times you see quotes on movies that it's like, are you serious right now? You're comparing this to this movie. You're just trying to get us to buy the movie. Or what was that reviewer thinking? But there was a reviewer that said, like, makes all other martial arts movies, including like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, all that, seem flat-footed. I could almost agree with that, man. The Raid movies are so next level. And again, because of fight scenes like this, that really is shown. 100%. Then to move on to number 2, you know I got to do something for my buddy Bruce back here. I brought the nunchucks for a reason. The whole end sequence in Fist of Fury is a big reason why it's my favorite movie. Now, I know Bruce probably like to be a little bit more under control, but there's something that's so magical about watching Bruce fight mad. When he goes to the dojo at the end and he kind of gives you know how Bruce is. He's always over-exaggerating. He's like, he'll tell people to leave like that. You know what I mean? Almost like he's doing it with strength. He ain't even got to say it with the words, which he's a little dude, but you know how strong he is if you're a martial arts historian or just a historian in general. But dude basically tells everybody in there, like, this doesn't belong, like, this doesn't concern you. And he's like, get out of here. Get out of here. And then he finally had enough, and he's just like, scram! And he starts beating the shit out of everybody mercilessly. Like, I mean, he is not fucking letting up. He's lighting people up left and right, and it's so fun to watch. I mean, just going to town, like screaming while he's doing it. It is so engaging. I cannot get enough of it, and I haven't been able to my entire life. Then, of course, old Fatso tries to come in and fight him again, but this time he knows better. He done seen the carnage he laid waste from earlier in the film and just now, and he brings in a samurai sword. And you really see Bruce's speed on full effect here, the way he can kind of get a little close with that little sidestep thing he does, and the way he can get back out and then get a little close, get back out, and he's just got him right where he wants him. You think he's at that extreme disadvantage with the samurai sword coming at him, and next thing you know, he's chopping him in the throat, samurai sword goes up, comes down through the guy. Dude, you thought you had him. Come on now. It's Bruce Lee. And then, of course, he makes his way back out to the yard, fights a few more people, then takes on the Russian. There's so much to that fight scene that is so dope. And the Russian really sells it. He gets kicked across the face at one point. The blood streak goes across, and then he kind of has that look like, oh, shit. Like, he didn't even see that foot coming. There's this part where Bruce lets off a flurry of combos, and he falls through to grab something, and the fucking board he goes to grab falls through, and he has that like, oh shit look again. And you know, he really sells that. And of course, you're fucking ending it with that classic throat chop after he pulled his hair back. It's just epic. And then honestly, maybe the weakest part of the fight scene debatably is the very, very end of it, but it's still great. You get to see him with the patented nunchucks. You can tell he's had enough. He fucking kicks dude in the throat outside of the dojo, which is actually Jackie Chan, as a fun fact, as the stunt double. The guy comes up like, and Bruce just jumps out of that hole he just kicked him through like a madman, screaming. And then, of course, he goes out on top, you know, in the best way possible. guns blazing, had to go out like a warrior. That whole ending sequence of those fight scenes, way too much. And my number one, maybe a bit controversial, but this is also my dude through and through, has got to go to Jean-Claude Van Damme and Lionheart. Now, honestly, this might not be the best technical fight scenes as far as choreography goes on this list, but as far as getting me hyped, there's not a scene in a movie I can think of that I've ever, like, even above Rocky, and you'll see how much I love the Rocky movies coming up. There's something about Leon Gautier, I think that's how you pronounce his last name in this, and of course he gets the nickname Lionheart. That just, he's so, like, you can root for him for days, man. He's just such a pure heart. The shit he goes through to just get to the family, his fucking niece and his brother's wife, and his brother just passed on, and then she don't want to accept him. All that builds to that last fight scene where he has to get it done, and then his manager Joshua just really sells it as, you know, Attila, the guy he's fighting, just a monster, absolute monster, just starts beating the shit out of him. Apparently they gave him the scouting report because Van Damme had a broken rib, and he starts going to town on that, and it looks like he's done because Attila, as Joshua put it, is like, this man already bagged 4 bodies or whatever it is. He's worried about Van Damme. Van Damme's stumbling. It looks like if he keeps going, man, he's going to get murdered, like right there in the ring. And you see Joshua just like, stay down, Lionheart. The whole bet's on Attila. And you just see that, and you see him get up again, like, wrong bet. He gets up, he gets the shit beat out of him again. He goes right back down. And then when he starts yelling at him, like, this dude's gonna kill your ass, Lionheart. Don't you know that? This dude's gonna kill your ass, Lionheart. Don't you know that? And you're just like, oh my God, the music, the score is perfection with it. And you feel it. And Joshua lets out that last scream, Lionheart. And as he's screaming Lionheart, Van Damme does that patented spin kick. Attila's like, he kicks his fucking arm out of the way and starts whooping Attila's ass, just completely swinging the fight around. And it is just, gets me fucking hyped just talking about it, man. That fight scene will never get old. And I guess, guys, that's about it. I really hope y'all enjoyed my top 5 fight scenes. I hope it fit your criteria for great fight scenes. And I hope if you're not big into fight scenes or martial arts movies, that this at least sold you a little bit to come over to our side, because there is so many good movies here, and there's so many people that just don't watch martial arts movies enough. That's why we do not get the big martial arts movies over here in Hollywood anymore, because people just kind of don't pay attention to them, and I'll never get it. I know there's not a lot of star power anymore, but then again, you got these dudes doing it more under the radar that are big in other countries, like Tony Jaa and people of that nature. Donnie Yen, who wasn't mentioned on this list, that is just, good Lord, how good is Donnie Yen? It's hard. I know. I'll probably get some hate for him not getting a fight scene on here. If we did 10, I bet you he'd be in here. And this is my list, of course. But, man, God, you got to love martial arts movies, man. And there's not many things that get me more hyped than watching a great, technically sound fight choreographed to perfection on screen. And if you can't tell I'm passionate about this, well, here's your sign, as Bill Engvall would say. But, man, again, though, guys, I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. We like doing this top 5 shit. And, you know, I hope you enjoyed this video, man, because I had fun making it. And it was fucking hard. Thanks for the hard question, but the hard questions sometimes are the best. Appreciate that, Blake Clark. I hope this was beneficial to you specifically as well, since this was your specific question. Sorry Mad Dog didn't make the list, but at least I got a Raid movie on there, right? Hopefully you like the Raid 2. I can't see why you wouldn't if you like the Raid 1. But y'all be good, man. Invite your friends to the group, man. We got that free movie giveaway. Whoever invites the most people by the time we hit 500 members, you get a free movie of your choice from mine, Josh, Tyler, Rodney even though he's got like 2 movies or some shit. Any free movie y'all want that we are offering, and there's some good ones, as Josh showed in his video. You can check that out in the announcements. Get to invite people. Let's grow this fucking community, man. Love y'all. Have a good one.